And as we said, this is playing in Arizona as well, with recent polling showing Republican Senate nominee Blake Masters trailing the Democratic senator there, Mark Kelly. Masters is trying to soften his views on the issue of abortion rights. In a new ad released yesterday, Masters accused Kelly of lying about his stance on reproductive rights and claimed Democrats were trying to cover for their extreme positions, if you can follow that. Soon after, Masters' campaign website underwent a complete makeover, but not before screenshots were captured by NBC News. Gone now are proclamations about Masters being, quote, 100% pro-life, stripping funding for research that uses embryonic cells, and support for a law that classifies abortion as murder. All gone from the site now, but it was there. In its place now is softer language calling Roe v. Wade a bad decision and pledging support for laws that ban late-term abortions. And it wasn't just Masters' website that once expressed those extreme views on abortion. Here's a campaign ad from Mark Kelly featuring Masters' own words.
Blake Masters has made his dangerous ideas on abortion easy to understand.
I think Roe v. Wade was wrong. I think it's always been wrong. It's a religious sacrifice to these people. I think it's demonic.
For Blake, taking away health care freedom for Arizona women is just the beginning.
I actually think we should go further.
The federal government needs to step in and say no state can permit abortion.
You make it illegal and you punish the doctors.
Blake Masters, too dangerous for Arizona.
Joining us now, one of the reporters who uncovered the Masters website makeover, NBC News senior national political correspondent Mark Caputo. Mark, thanks for being here this morning. So we laid out some of it, but what all was on the site for Blake Masters during the primary when he was trying to win the support of Trump voters and other Republicans, and what's now gone as he tries to win some independents and take this statewide?
Right. Overall, there were 4 bullet points, or pardon me, overall there were 6 bullet points. Now there are 4. Among the things that are missing, and some of them have just changed outright, was kind of very hardcore language that you hear from the anti-abortion activists, the use of the term abortionists. He talked about like stripping all funding from, quote, abortionists. And a big one is the personhood law, in that he said previously, Blake Masters on his website, that he supported a personhood law or bill or constitutional amendment. And those posit that life begins at conception, and therefore any abortion beyond that is murder. And the disconnect with his position now is he says he supports abortion up to 15 weeks with some restrictions and some various rules. So on one hand, during the primary, he was against abortion after conception, period, full stop, because he supported that personhood law. Now there's this 15-week language that he's embracing. Now, when we reached out to the campaign, they basically defined the personhood law differently from the way the personhood law is defined in Arizona, because there's a law there that has been put on hold by a judge, which says that life begins at conception. Also, there's a federal bill in Congress from Republicans that also define personhood as beginning at conception. Now, the reason we got onto this is I was just looking at Twitter and I saw his ad move and I clicked it and I thought, wow, this is interesting. There's basically a Republican leading off by calling his Democrat a liar, kind of typical. Both sides accuse each other of that. But in this ad from a very conservative candidate, I was listening to him basically describe himself in other terms and in other races as essentially pro-choice in some circumstances. And so I thought, let me go to his website. So I went to his website, I saw the personhood stuff, and I was like, wow, this is different. So my colleague, Alan Smith, and I teamed up and made some calls. And right after Alan called the campaign for Blake Masters, then suddenly the website changed. But we figured that would happen, so we screen capped it ahead of time. And it's a good example, as we pointed out in our story and as you pointed out here, is that abortion is problematic currently for Republicans. Chuck Coughlin, who's a Republican pollster in Arizona, says that his polling shows Masters down by 10 points to Mark Kelly. And he attributes a good amount of that movement to abortion, not just because of the policy in and of itself, but because it's also a gateway issue for Democrats to frame Republicans as being too extreme. And according to Coughlin's polling, you not only have women who disproportionately don't like Masters, but you also have independents who are turning away from him, and voters over 64. And so I asked, well, what is it about abortion that voters over 64 are really concerned about? He said, well, it's the broader issue of they're just kind of tired of the sense from the far right that they want everything changed and it's too radical, and they just want the ship to kind of slow down. They want the traffic to stop and just things to kind of go back to the way they were. Now, obviously, it's early on. We've got a number of months to go until the November election. But currently, Masters' reaction, his etch-a-sketching, so to speak, of his policy positions on abortion and the polling certainly show that, yeah, this is turning out to be problematic for Republicans in some states, especially swing states like Arizona.